morning. It is Eli, Jimmy, and Tim
Hello.
at DS Tech in Escanaba, Michigan, and we're going to talk about never losing your Office document again.
Yes.
How many times have you been at your computer working on a big spreadsheet or a long, maybe a blog post in a Word document or something like that, and you didn't save it, and then the computer crashes or something happens?
Or you leave for the day because it's the end of your shift. You
Oh,
forget
yeah.
to save your file. You come in and guess what? Your computer updated overnight.
And it's gone.
Undid yesterday's
Yep.
work.
Yay.
Oh, or if you're working in the
There goes that
cloud and you
report.
have in the internet flicked out or something.
Mhm.
Just all kinds of weird things can happen and you lose all
Power
your work.
outages.
You have
Seen
to
a lot
start
of that
all over.
lately.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you have to start all over. So we're going to talk about all the ways that you can avoid that. So if you listen to us, you will never lose an Office document again. So at the end, I will tell you how to get our free security assessment and our newsletter. Of course, you can just find them on our website. But anyway,
That's right.
yeah. Okay, so
But stay tuned.
let's talk about all the ways. All
That's
the
right.
ways.
So the biggest thing is if you have Microsoft 365, so Word, Outlook, Excel, the Microsoft suite of programs, there is a thing called autosave, which you should be able to turn on. And when you turn autosave on, what it's doing is it's trying to save locally every so often for you automatically. So if you were to accidentally close out of it, or maybe you open up the Excel sheet in the morning after the update, it's like, oh, we may be able to recover your file for you. If you've ever seen that kind of a message, it means you probably have autosave turned on. So it's trying to save copies to try to get you to a better point, not just lose all of your work. So you basically want
So
to
make
turn
sure
on
it's
autosave.
turned on.
Turn on your autosave. If it's
Yes.
not turned on, and there's a
Always
couple
need to
settings
do
you
that.
check for that. The second part that kind of pairs with that is when you have Microsoft 365, typically you're going to have some OneDrive storage with that, and how much you have kind of depends on your licensing and various things like that. But even your basic OneDrive storage has the ability then of backing up usually like your desktop, your documents, your downloads, your most common files on your computer will automatically sync, they call it, where when you save it to your computer, it will actually save a copy of that to the cloud for you as well. But keep in mind, it's still syncing, right? So if you saved a bad version on your computer, it'll sync the bad version in the cloud too. It's not like you're going to have iterative backups of that.
I
With
think ours is automatically set up,
Yeah.
right? Because when I go home
Yep.
and work on my home computer and I log in, it's not my home computer, it's my business computer
Work
at
from
home.
home.
Yeah. Because I don't use my home computer at work. We don't do that.
We don't mix.
No, it's a DS Tech computer. But anyway, when I log in at home on that computer, it does find my files.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go to the OneDrive.
Yep.
So I think it automatically does that.
It will
for
save
us.
to the cloud, and then on your computer, like say I were in the office working on some stuff and it saves to the cloud. Now when I go to my home computer, the home computer version might be slightly old, so you'll have to download the latest version from the cloud onto that. Sometimes like sync it down. When you click on the file,
so
it
it
says,
might
do you
be-
want to use
okay.
this file or do you want to use the file in the cloud? And it may allow you to choose. Because then exactly like that, if you have a laptop and a desktop or two multiple computers and you have them both synced with the same Microsoft account, the great thing is when you're working at the office and then you go at home, all your files are in the same spots where they used to be before, and your documents, downloads, and all that.
Microsoft
seamless
365
interface.
licensing allows
Yep.
you to have it on up to 5
Up to 5
devices. So it could
devices
be
for
on
one
your
account.
phone, it
Phone,
could be on
computer,
your
laptop.
all the
Tablet.
same account, tablet, yeah.
Tablet, yep.
Yep, and 2 desktops. There you go. You got them all covered.
Boom.
Yep. And then the files, like any changes you made on your on your tablet, then will sync to the cloud. You go into the desktop, open it up, you can see the latest version on there as well. So your changes will kind of follow you with, as well as like bookmarks, some of the basic stuff that you do will follow you around, and just working when you're
It
using
makes it
multiple
so
devices
much
easier.
easier.
Yep. So
Yeah.
using that OneDrive and that cloud storage will really help with that. So one thing to do as well that I like to personally do too, instead of just constantly saving your work, is to create versions of the document you're working on. So if I'm making a rough draft for something or doing a security risk assessment or whatever I'm doing, rather than just keep updating and saving, which is a great habit to be in, I do what's called the save as.
Mhm.
And when you do a save as, what that does is it makes a copy of your file. It's actually not just updating the existing one. Your one that you're working on is still there, but it just makes a new copy. So it's kind of like different versions, version 1, 2, 3, 4. As you're going through, you can have different versions as you go.
More drafts.
and different drafts, yep, whatever you want to call it, that works out, and then just do the save as. And so that's what I like to do. And then they'll usually will ask you where do you want to save it, in the cloud, in your computer somewhere, however you want to do your organization there. But having multiple copies to reference could be good, because then as you're working, you maybe want to roll back to something you did prior to. So this one talks about recovering unsaved work with document recovery. So Microsoft Office does have a built-in document recovery tool that allows you to, again, recover the unsaved work. That was with kind of the automatic autosaves as well. They kind of work hand in hand with that on there. So if you have the autosave turned on, typically your document recovery is going to be turned on. Again, that's if it crashes. It tries to remember exactly where you were at that point in time, where the autosaves may be every 15-minute intervals, every 5, however you set those up in there.
Office 365 does not want you to lose your documents.
No, gone are the days where, like, when I was in school and typed up your report for school and then you forget to save it and you have to do the whole thing over again. Gone are those days. You don't usually have
You had
to
a
do
teacher
anymore.
that you could like, and I didn't, but let's just say you had one. You'd be like, oh man, that's my excuse.
Yep.
Can I have another day? Well,
Yeah.
now
I just
you
need one
can't
more
really
day.
do that anymore.
Give me your document recovery version of it. I'll take that.
Right,
You're like,
right.
Oh, you didn't even serve
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay.
Give me what you have.
So,
Oh,
there's
Does that
also
only work if it's turned on though?
for what the document
Yeah.
recovery. Yeah, typically it's usually enabled by default for most of the stuff.
Okay.
With the save as, but yeah, check to make sure the
Just
document
check.
recovery is turned on. It usually will be turned on in the kind of the same area that your auto save is turned on. They'll have some of those settings in the same spot as well.
Cool.
So Windows users do have a thing called file history as well that automatically backs up versions of their documents at set intervals. So you can go to your file, and it's kind of in the built-in Windows backup kind of thing where they have these different file histories to see. But realistically, what I like to recommend if you're leveraging the cloud, Microsoft 365 a ton, you have your emails in the cloud, everything's kind of in the cloud, is invest in an actual backup of your cloud infrastructure. We offer that for our clients here at DS Tech.
it's really cost effective
Yeah.
too. I mean, it's for the headaches and the
Yeah, for the
loss
cost per
of-
user is pretty
oh
cheap.
my
It's not like
gosh.
having a whole backup solution with a BDR appliance and all this other
Yeah.
stuff for your local servers. You pay per user, and then what it essentially does is it clones all of their OneDrive, their documents, their emails to a completely separate data center, because the cloud is just, again, someone else's computer. So what you're doing is you're taking all of the data that you have in Microsoft's cloud and you're cloning it somewhere else that's separated. The idea for that is then if you needed to recover a file, hopefully you don't with some of these tips we have, but if you did need to recover a file, you can. The biggest thing is to prevent in case there was a security threat or something happened where someone got into your Microsoft account and then now they're logging in, they actually will have access to your OneDrive now. And the hackers not only are going to be messing with your local computer with your account, they're going to potentially start putting ransomware on your OneDrive cloud files, things like that. So to be able to recover them like a traditional backup is important to have a completely cloned version of all of your cloud infrastructure stuff. So having a cloud backup is also very important, like a local backup that you're used to having for your local computers and things like that. And the last one talks about how using save often as a manual habit. So just Control S on a computer, is save. So as you're working through your things, just hit Control S once in a while to do a quick little save of it. Or just, again, if you have auto saving on, version history things, it's not as important, but that was a quick, I used to do that back in school. Like every paragraph I do, just Control S. That way I don't have to
I know.
redo it again.
Just make it a
When
thing.
I'm helping somebody with their writing their stuff, or using the software,
Yeah,
I'm like, click save,
please say.
click save. Every few minutes we're like,
Well, yeah,
save.
you don't want to lose
Like-
what you're doing.
So-
I
My
don't want to redo
goodness.
that again. So, yep. So
Yep.
just using
Or
that as a manual
like Tim
habit is
said,
good.
Control S is easy.
Yep.
So
Saves them
Yep.
having to go through it all again.
So yeah, so there's just some brief tips about the Microsoft Office files. Again, if you do have Google Suite, I'm sure there's similar things as well with their Google, whatever the Drive and
whatever it
different
is, we
I'm
know
not too familiar.
Microsoft.
things. But same thing, it's important to have backup clones, copies, all that kind of stuff as well. So, but I can speak to the Microsoft ecosystem because that's what we use day to day. But whatever your provider is, just make sure you're taking the necessary steps to make sure you don't lose your data and
Yeah,
your backups.
Make sure your auto saves
Absolutely.
are on and continuously save
Mhm.
and save as if you want copies.
Make copies, drops. Yeah.
Save
And
somewhere.
save them in the cloud
Yep.
and have backups of the
Yep.
cloud.
The cloud is kind of like a backup, but it's not a true backup because it's tied to your account. And so if someone were to breach your account, they're going to
Yeah.
get into that cloud. You want to have a separate
Yeah,
login, a
that's
separate
right.
completely everything that has
Something
all the
that's
stuff.
separate. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was an acronym for that we talked about in
It's almost like
backups.
your offsite backup before, but it's different,
I might have to look back. No, it was an acronym about all the backups you should have, and I can't remember it right now. But I'll have to. I know we talked about it in a
Yes.
past live with Dave.
Stay
when he was
tuned.
We
here.
haven't done one on backups.
We
haven't.
Specifically either, so maybe we could do a future live.
We
with
need
just
to do a
all about
backup
backups. Yep.
Drop your questions about backups so that we can address them.
Mhm.
And of course, anything about Microsoft Office because we all use it. So
That's true.
if you have questions about that, drop that. I'm sure we even have training videos and stuff like that we can reference. And then, of course, I told you that you could get a free security assessment. Just drop
right.
the word free or assessment, and I'll get it to
Or
you.
galactic.
Yeah, well, if you want the fancy galactic spin, you can ask Eli about it.
Yeah.
But drop those words, I'll get you the link, or just go to our website, sign up for a newsletter, and get your free security assessment. So, is that it? Are we good?
Control.
All right.
So
Next time we'll talk about something else. Have a great day.
Don't forget to save.
Don't forget to save.